to officially start the session, I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Majaji Ramawela. I'm the chapter president of the International Institute for Peace through Tourism in Southern Africa. Our office is one of the newest chapters within the Institute. We are based in South Africa and working very hard to try and spread the word, the good word of the Institute within Southern Africa and the African continent. And I want to take this time to also thank the ladies who I have approached on a last minute, last week, to form the Africa session for this webinar themed African Women Facing Forward. But the theme itself for the international webinar, which has different regions that have taken place and some are still going to take place, the theme of it is called Women Facing Forward. You then ask yourself, what does it mean? It means post the COVID-19 pandemic, what are the women doing across the world in the tourism industry in particular to advance the beautiful agenda of tourism? As we know, tourism is a force for greater good. You know, this is a message that was delivered some years back by the President Bill Clinton at the International Hotel Investment Forum in Dubai. He was a guest speaker at the Arabian Hotel Investment Conference. And I remember him speaking and saying, tourism is a force for good. And so today as women, we are talking about the continuation of tourism being a force for good. And specifically saying, how are women facing forward within this beautiful industry that we need the world's leaders, both in the government and the private sector, to embrace? Because tourism is the greatest equalizer. It touches, there isn't any aspect of a society that tourism doesn't touch. Whether you are a poor person living in the most marginalized, the most rural areas, tourism touches you. Whether you're in the urban areas, the most luxurious setting with all the amenities you can think about, tourism touches you. This is why people like me, and I know the ladies who are in this webinar, are in tourism. They have been in tourism. They live, they breathe, they sleep tourism. And so this afternoon, we are going to be talking about what are the challenges that women are facing on a day-to-day basis within the tourism industry to advance the agenda of tourism. But we are also going to talk about the opportunities. What are the opportunities that are there within the fourth industrial revolution, within a world which is becoming digital, which is becoming technologically driven? Within the tourism industry, where are the women taking these opportunities? What are they doing with them? And we are also going to talk about what are the specifics on a localized level. There where we start talking about the most marginalized people, the women in the rural communities. You know, us being from Africa, we know that one of the things that Africa is known for is our natural heritage, the wildlife, the conservation. And where does all this happen in an environment where there are people living adjacent to them? I'm sure you've heard over the years, people talking about the conflict between nature and human beings, where we have stories about elephants invading people's farmlands, invading people's militaries, sugarcane. You know, this is what rural people in Africa and most other rural settings in the world face, where they begin to find it very difficult for them to conserve nature because they are saying, where is the benefit for us to preserve all these animals that are causing so much havoc? Where is the benefits flowing into us? All we see is tourists flying into these spaces, living in these luxurious spaces, you know, having a time of their life, and we are left out of the picture. And so we are talking about, we want to hear about rural women. Those of us in this panel who are faced with dealing with women, you know, what are those challenges that they're dealing with? How are they dealing with them? But most important, post-COVID-19, in the world where climate change is becoming a big issue, how are women coming in to address? Why women? Because the majority of tourism workforce worldwide is female. According to the UNWTO, 54% of people employed in tourism are women, compared to 39%. in the broader economy. The wage gap is smaller in the tourism industry. Women in tourism earn 14.7% less than men. You ask yourself, why? Women in tourism play a role in the informal sector, in the opening of stores, in selling of souvenirs, food and trading as hawkers. Women play a role in increasing family income. In the family, women play a role in decision-making, while in the community, the role of women is still limited. The study that the UNWTO conducted found that although 75% of the workforce comprises of women, there was a low percentage of women at board and executive management levels. In Africa, women make up to 69% of the tourism labor force, according to the 2019 UNWTO report. And initiatives are required to effectively, systematically engage more women in the tourism sector in a timely manner. And the post-COVID-19 is a great environment because, as you will remember, COVID-19 was regarded as the great reset, the global reset. And so if we are in the middle of the global reset, how are we engaging women meaningfully so that we can advance the agenda of tourism together? After all, the women are they are caregivers. They are the ones in the forefront of giving hospitality. But women are equally in the middle of the decision-making when it comes to traveling. They are, because they're caregivers, they are the ones, they are mothers in the household. The decision-making as to where we are going on holiday this year, whether it's Easter holidays, whether it's the December holidays, women are at the center of the decision-making. So we are very much part of the picture of tourism. And so tourism is us, and tourism should be us. But we are not saying this at the exclusion of men, because there's a reason why there are men and women in this world. We complement each other. It is not a competition, it's cooperation. There is certain things we can do as women effectively. There's certain things that men can do effectively. And if we can learn, people of the world, to know this and harness this, it is the thing that is going to take us forward. And so with this brief introduction, I will want to bring in the women that are here in this panel. I would want them to share with you, our audience, from an African perspective, on this theme of women facing forward. What have they learned? What have they discovered? What are the lessons? Because we are not about talking about problems. We are about talking problems a little bit, but I would want my colleagues to talk about the solutions. Because we have a lot of people listening here. I want to thank the audiences that are joining us on the different platforms, on our website, on the International Institute for Peace Through Tourism webinar platform. I want to thank those who are joining us through Zoom. I want to thank those who are joining us through Instagram, but also other platforms, including Facebook. This is our forum. This is our women who are going to be here. We're telling the African story. Those of you who have been in the part of this webinar since the morning, you have listened to the Asia Pacific story. It is your turn now to join us to listen to the African story. And so with that, thank you so much to everybody. I see, as I said, let me do some acknowledgement furthermore before I let in our first speaker. As I said earlier on, the immediate past Secretary General of the United Nations Tourism Organization, Dr. Taleb Rifai. I think we must give him an African name. He's here with us. Thank you so much, SG, for joining us. I see colleagues from the International Institute for Peace Through Tourism, the international office as we call them. I see our president-elect, Ajay Prakash, who runs the India chapter. He is here with you. Ajay, you're welcome. And then I see it's our vice president, Mr. Timothy Marshall, all the way from the US. He's joining us here on Zoom. Thank you so much for making the time. To all the other dignitaries that are here with us, please join us and listen to the African story as far as the theme of women, African women looking forward. To get us started, let me invite Ambassador Nancy to join us. She will introduce herself as part of the session. I think those of you who joined the website will have picked up her profile and read who she is. She is many things. She achieved many things. She advances many agendas. And so I will want to give over to you, Ambassador, to really address the audience. Thank you for making the time.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here this afternoon. And I welcome everybody on board this afternoon. It's an exciting moment. Yesterday was our Independence Day. Ghana was 66 years. We really are blessed. However, today's meeting, of course, we are going to talk about the effect of tourism on women, the challenges, but also the advantage. But I want to dwell more of that advantage and the solutions and what has brought some of us where we are, because we need women to learn from some of the things we have gone through to bring us to the position that we are. It is not easy to be able to hear from somebody's experience, for you to be able to deduce ideas and encouragement from it, because it's going to give us.
You are mute. Yes, please. Please come back.
Yeah, I believe that this platform is going to give us an opportunity for most of the women here to learn a lot. I always say in our local language, they say, if you give birth to a woman, you have given birth to a nation. And because women affect, one woman will affect a whole family, and it goes down to the minimum of 20. And so when it comes to tourism, the tourism industry, just as our sister said, but in Ghana, we have over 60% women that are in the tourism, in hotel, restaurant. Most of the women owns the hotel in Ghana. You go to the Art and Culture Center, you see about 80% of those selling there are women. And so in the tourism in Ghana, it is very, very powered by women. I would say to be a woman in tourism, I'm going to talk about the positive things and the things you need to be strong, to be in the position that you have to be. First of all, you have to be courageous. You have to be confident. Without courage and confidence, you cannot penetrate through this world that we are in, because it is a tough world. And tourism are for tough people, because you want to penetrate through a culture, people that you are not part of you. Because when you talk about tourism, you are dealing with the world. It's not your local people alone or the people you know around, but you are talking about the world. If you are in the capital, you are not in the rural area and you are in the capital, then you are meeting all sorts of people. If you are in the rural, of course, because it's a tourism destination, you will still have people coming to your rural area if there is a site there, and you'll be meeting them. When I talk about courage, for you to rise up, to come to a position in society when it comes to tourism, have influence, you have to break through the barriers, the gates that are very, very tough. And when I say that, I mean, if you are the type that you are a strong woman, you will have challenges, you will have people to talk about you, you will have people to prevent you, people to hold you back from your dreams and your aspiration. And you would just have to let your talent in you come out. You should be courage in such a way that nothing can stop you. Of course, women are very industrial. They can multiply whatever they have. You don't need to have too much to multiply it. You just have to believe in yourself. If the little you have, you just have to believe. If it is, assuming you want to build a restaurant, or you want to build a craft center, or you even think you want to be a tour operator, you don't need to be a big tour operator, no matter how small you are.
Can I say something? Do you have access to your computer?
Your company? That's
No,
angle.
you know why? I want you to see what I'm doing right now. I'm in a webinar. I'm facilitating
Because
a
some
webinar.
of
I said I was doing something.
some of us started
You
very
want me to send you
humble,
the link? You can join and see what I'm doing.
very humble. But we have a determination. I would like to tell you a little about myself because that is what will encourage and motivate you. When I talk about having confidence, having the courage to be able to penetrate. 40 years ago in my country, you cannot travel to the US. I mean, even the elderly people who have money think that traveling outside was not an easy thing. It was not fun. You are going to the US or London, you must go for either school or conference or training. There is nothing like going for vacation. No, there was nothing like that. It was only few people that takes those steps. But when I came on the scene, very young lady who had just come on the scene, and at that time there were less than 10 tour operators, less. And as young as I was, I remember I went to Disney. And when I went to Disney and I saw what was in the US, I came back, and that very month, I said to myself, I am going to organize students to Disney. And my first trip, I went to all the very top officials, told them, I want to take your children to the US. They look at me and they just couldn't believe that a young woman could just go to them. So by the time I realized I had 10 children, and these children are no ordinary children. I have the daughter from our government, the Bank of Ghana, some ministers, some MPs, some top businessmen, and they all believed. One, that is your courage and your confidence and your belief. And you also have to add.
Nancy, can I interrupt? You got one more minute? Okay. We're gonna be strict with time. Yeah, 1 more minute, please.
Okay, sorry that I had to just, but the point I'm trying to make is you don't need to let nothing stop you. As a young woman growing up, trying to penetrate into the tourism industry, you don't need to let nothing stop you. You just have to have a mentor. Look at somebody who has made it in the tourism and attach yourself. Learn from their shortcoming, learn from their success, learn from what their weakness and their strength, learn from the things that they have gone through, and through that, and let them open doors for you. Let them join them if it's possible. If they can take you to some of their meetings, expose you to people that they know, that is how you can make it. I'm telling women, you cannot be on your own. You need to have a mentor and look for a mentor who has made it, and try and humble yourself and be with that mentor. And I tell you, the sky will be your limit. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ambassador, for those inspiring words. I'm sure the young women that are in this audience, including myself, we are listening and taking some lessons. We really appreciate, and we appreciate you taking the time. Good luck with the event at the Italian Embassy where you are. Thank you.
Thank you.
So moving along, thank you very much. Moving along, our next speaker is going to be my good sister. My good sister, we worked very well in the past. She used to be the CEO of the Hospitality Association of Botswana. But she will tell you about herself and what she's doing nowadays, because she's very much was bitten by the tourism bug, and the bug is still with her. It gives me great pleasure to introduce, I call her Ausi, which means Sisi. Ausi Murungwa Ntwedibi. She's in Botswana. Ausi Murungwa, the floor is yours. But before you start, I see a hand of Dr. Rifai. Dr. Rifai, please come in.
No, I just wanted to secure a place to speak at some point in time.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
I'll definitely slot you in there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please come in. We let the elders speak last, so they can sum up everything that we have said. So we're going to give Dr. Rifai the rose amongst.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, and greetings from Botswana, everybody. Facilitator, allow me to thank you for this opportunity. And I picked a topic that I can see is not very popular. People haven't spoken to it, but I think it's very important to talk about peace and women, because women in peace and peaceful coexistence of people and nations is indeed a critical and a key issue to look at and ponder on in tourism. But before I continue, let me say that it is indeed a great honor and a pleasure and a privilege rather for me. And once again, I greet you from beautiful, breathtaking Botswana, which is an unimaginable vastness of prolific wildlife.
Beautiful country, beautiful country.
Accommodation with options of top-class hotels, luxury lodges, safari camps, to camping grounds and budget guest houses. So, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Botswana, the great land of breathtaking contrasts. It would have been amiss of me not to do that 1 minute advert on behalf of my country. I would like to discuss this topic by anchoring on Setswana proverbs. And one of the proverbs that Machachi referred to was Mosadi Taria Sechaba. She will assist me in translating that one. Setswana proverbs have by and large been what our country has anchored its peace and democracy on, and it has contributed immensely to who we are as a nation right now. Proverbs have been an integral part of who we are as Botswana. Proverbs can be used to guide, to counsel, and also to influence behavior. Proverbs that encapsulate peace, freedom of speech, cooperation, interdependence, and Botu or Ubuntu, or for lack of a better English word, humanism. Humanism doesn't quite encapsulate the meaning of Ubuntu. It is these values that have been used in our daily lives in Botswana, as Botswana, that have contributed to peace and democracy and the nation that Botswana is today. So Proverbs have many functions. They have very many functions, and one of the functions is what I stated earlier on. So I would like to explore with you through the tourism lens, promotion of peace in the home, in the community, in the nation, and internationally, through the context of using proverbs, African proverbs. One such, because what is inherent in many of our proverbs is the belief that peace is a fundamental right. So some of the proverbs that I was looking at, the Setswana proverbs, are that Morotoe sihaoyele, meaning that you cannot do anything alone. A team is required, working together as a people is required, which suggests that women need to work together in order to be successful in tourism, in order to have the impact that we wish to see in tourism, because women are great influencers. Women are people who are created to give birth. We are natural nurturers, and therefore, Morotoesi Haweli, meaning that it is together as women who are gifted in birthing and nurturing that we can raise to the occasion of tourism, that we can take tourism to another level, that we can influence decision makers, we can influence policy makers in order to create an environment that enables the woman who, when she is at peace, by being able to make a livelihood, she gets home, she's able to feed her children, she's able to take care of the family. Peace starts right at home, and it starts with the woman's ability to be able to give and provide and nurture the home. UNWTO also describes tourism as the main bridge for building understanding. Tourism has a unique way, UNWTO says, to promote peace between and amongst people everywhere. So it is in this contextual framework that I want to suggest that our development has been in Botswana has not been without challenges. So don't get me wrong, because I'm all positive here, and I may not seem to be talking about the challenges that we have faced as a nation. No, on the contrary, it has not been. However, we note that Botswana has been one of the most peaceful nations in Africa, and this is because of our use of proverbs. Because the proverbs have a way of speaking to us and communicating with us and making us have an understanding of where we need to be going. So when we look at tourism in Botswana, we note that as we celebrate Women's Month in this month, that women are at a lower level than the men. We're not at a leadership level. So one of the solutions would be that women need to be empowered to a higher level. Leadership needs to be mainstreamed into the tourism sector so that we can do what we do best, nurture and bring peace to the nation. Since tourism is a very labor-intensive sector, with numerous value chain opportunities, we find that a lot of women, this is where a lot of Botswana women are, but we want them to get to the next level. And we can only do that by allowing them access to land, access to financing, access to skills development. So we need to give attention to the advancement of women through the various activities in tourism. We need to close the pay gap between the men and women in the sector. We need to review the work conditions that are affecting women, because women have to double up by being in this sector that has strange hours, and the family. And for women to be able to foster peace, we need that balance in the working conditions. I won't go into the statistics because Machachi already went into the statistics, and pretty much those statistics are very similar to our scenario in Botswana. Because many of our women are small businesses, B&Bs, small travel agencies, craft sellers, souvenir sellers, airtime sellers, beauty, etc. So now empowering our women in tourism would mean, as we face forward, it would mean that we nurture them, we allow them as creators who incubate and birth, that we allow them to promote inclusivity, which is what women do. Women are at the forefront of efficiencies. That's why we see them as the majority in the tourism sector, even though they are not at the realm of the facilities or the businesses, but they are at the forefront.
One more minute. Okay. Yes.
Okay. Women are peacekeepers, and women promote peace generally, and women who live in a safe, fulfilling environment will broker peace, will foster peace, will encourage peace, will nurture peace. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Murunga Ndwedibi from Botswana. I loved how she started promoting the beautiful country that is Botswana. If you haven't been to Botswana, you are missing out. Dr. Rifai, I know you've been, you visited the Delta. You loved it when you were there. And I know when you get the opportunity to speak later on, you're going to reflect because of the love that you have with the people that you visited across the African continent. So thank you so much, Ma'am Murunga. I also want to acknowledge, just to say to you ladies, we have plus 400 audiences listening to us, watching us, listening to what you are saying across all those platforms that I mentioned, on our website as the IIPT, on Instagram, people are watching us. And so I love doing that marketing spiel at the beginning of Botswana. And I know folks in Botswana tourism are watching and listening. So there are the tourists arriving in Gaborone and Maung and the Akavanga Delta and Etosha, which is Namibia, and all the other beautiful places of Botswana. So thank you so much, Ma'am Murunga. We really appreciate you. Let me also acknowledge Michaela, who is a Goodwill Ambassador for Zambia. So anybody who says we have not included as many people, Zambia is represented. So Michaela, you know, she hails from Italy. She's here, a great supporter of the work that we do at the IIPT, the African Tourism Showcase, and all the different countries of Africa. Michaela, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. So let me move on. I want to call on Clara. Clara, you are with us, Clara Okoro. She's going to talk to us on the topic of developing digital skills, a vehicle for women empowerment in tourism. I'm doing this topic because people always accuse us of when it comes to technology. You know, so we want to tell them we are so we know that when we deliver people's experiences, they love the physical face to face. Look at co-living spaces that are driven by platform enterprises. I don't want to mention any names. So we're very much in there in tourism. And so Clara is going to talk to us about this, demystify this once and for all, quieten the conversation that women in tourism are very much part of technology. So Clara, my sister, it's over to you. You are unmuted. You are muted.
Mute yourself, please, Clara.
Clara,
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. And, a lovely afternoon from Lagos to every one of us. So it's been my dream and lifelong ambition to make sure that technology, you know, digitally transforms the tourism industry in Africa, because without it, we are truly not going to be very competitive. In countries like the United States of America, there are actually travel technology associations. What these associations do is to leverage on the latest innovations, the latest technologies that are specifically designed for the travel, tourism, hospitality industries. Okay, let's take an example of softwares built for hotels today. Previously in the past, when we travel, take for instance in the 70s to different countries in the world, we basically do a manual model. We get a booking agent to book our tickets. We arrive at the airport through a taxi that will probably have flagged down on the street. And when we get into that country, we'll have to manually also look for a taxi to take us to our hotel or to wherever our relatives are that are waiting for us. But now the scenario is different in today's world. In the hotel where you're going to arrive shortly from the airport, when you arrive at a country, you already have your data with the owners of that hotel. Basically, your flight arrives, you get down, go to your mobile device, and with the help of the app, you book for a taxi that will take you to that hotel. As you're arriving at the hotel, you might not even meet anybody in the front desk, but a computerized voices welcome you, mention your name, because through artificial intelligence, they've already been able to decode your face or your fingerprint or thumbprint. And then you take your cardless key from the rack and just go into your hotel room and touch the door, and it opens and you go right into your hotel. These are just scenarios of how technology has transformed so many things in the travel, technology, and tourism industry. So we have basically softwares that are enabling a lot in the travel industry now. For the transportation sector, you have a lot of mobile apps that you can book in advance, even before you leave your country. The places you want to go to, you have them in those apps, and it's a lot easier for you. Then coming down to how women can actually be empowered through digital skills. This is where we have actually brought it down to the basics. Your app, as simple as your WhatsApp, it's a marketing tool. A lot of people haven't really thought of it. Every morning when you wake up and you go on your mobile device and you chat with your friends on WhatsApp, you actually have the opportunity to sell the services that you do. It's been so configured to allow you to use WhatsApp as a marketing tool for your small business as a tourism practitioner. So women who are trained in these skills by even some of the owners of these apps, for instance, I know Facebook sometimes does organize digital skills training as empowerment tools for people, would have a better chance of making sales, because somebody has been marketed to with that WhatsApp tool that you have, that you freely use to just chat with your friends. You've been marketed to. So that puts you over and above the other person who does not have an idea that they could use that WhatsApp tool as a marketing tool for their tourism business. If you're managing an Airbnb, every morning you send chats to your friend that we're still in business, you can make use of our Airbnb, and that in a way puts your business in the face of those that you're talking to. The same thing with your Facebook page. You can actually use your Facebook page to keep updating your businesses on a daily basis. Take pictures of the Airbnb which you're servicing, post it, tag your friends, and they will have an idea that, oh, you actually can be of use to them when they want to make use of an Airbnb like yours. So what we try to do is reach out to some of these big tech companies like Google, Facebook, who is now known as Meta, to organize training, workshops for women in the tourism and travel industry, so they can be able to use the smaller skills to advance the services that they offer as tourism businesses. In my country, Nigeria, recently, one of the giant telecom companies, MTN, specifically developed tools for the tourism industry. And we're trying to work with them to be able to empower more women to be able to use these tools to deliver, on their businesses as women, and to get more empowered. Because we know that there are a lot more women in the tourism industry, but because they do not leverage the available tools in technology, it looks like the other gender, which is the men who do the big businesses, are much more advanced than the women in being able to rake in more money for their businesses. But we believe that if you introduce technology into the mainstream of all this, it's going to help empower a lot of more women to be able to drive sales for the businesses that they work on in the travel and tourism industry. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Clara. That was so quick. It was so quick. Absolutely fantastic.
Do I still have?
Yes, you still got, I think you still had 2 minutes to go. Huh? You still got 2 minutes to go.
Okay, awesome. Awesome.
Yes.
So we're looking at what has happened to women in the past, that they felt, okay, in the value chain of the tourism industry, you just see the women, we're coming to, for instance, the hotel and hospitality aspect of the business. You have women who are just used as the storekeepers, those who make the beds and everything. With technology, you can still advance the services that you offer in that space in the hospitality industry. And as you take pictures of your services on a daily basis and upload, people will actually know that these are the skills that you have and that can help you in terms of growth in that industry. So as little as these tools are, our Facebook pages, our WhatsApp tools, our Google pages, you can actually use it to advance your career in the hospitality industry, as long as you're empowered to know how to utilize these tools to be able to advance what you're doing in the tourism industry. And then now it becomes so amazing what our mobile devices can do for us. A lot of influencers in the tourism and hospitality sector, when they travel real time, they can give and share with us their locations, where they are, what's happening in those places. And this can also inspire some people to want to travel to those locations, because we're seeing them right as technology is bringing them to us, as our friends are sharing those memories and images with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Clara. I really appreciate it. Some good lessons there. I was listening
You're welcome.
with my 4 years, Clara, so we really appreciate it. So, ladies and gentlemen, moving on swiftly. Don't go away, Clara, because you never know. You know, when our good Dr. Rifai speaks, you'll want to have your ears, your 5 ears opened later on. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, who's the Goodwill Ambassador for Zambia. As I mentioned earlier on, the beautiful country of Zambia, which shares the beautiful, mighty Victoria Falls, Musiwa Tunya, with Zimbabwe. She's here. Michaela, let me give you over the screen and you will introduce yourself. I'm giving you 10 minutes to speak, and
okay.
Right now.
Okay. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. How are you, Dr. Rifai? Nice to see you again.
Very good to see you, Michaela.
Thank you. So now I want to talk about Zambia. I was appointed last year as a Goodwill Ambassador for Zambia to promote Zambia in Italy. And I have already the accreditation with the Italian government, with the Zambia government. I was there last November after Botswana, because I was in the travel expo to Botswana, to Kasane. Then, you know, Kasane is just on the border to Zambia. So what I have a lot of things to say about Zambia, because I discovered a country that is very, very, very full of nice people, and then we have the 5 big animals, the big 5. The people are very nice and very polite. And then what to say about Victoria Falls? Everybody knows Victoria Falls. Also, Zambia is in the critical position, because once you are in Zambia, you can go to Botswana, to Namibia, and to Zimbabwe. And there is another important thing about Zambia. Now, if you get on in Zambia, you don't have to pay a visa. So that's for the European market and American market are very good. We discovered a place that is really, really, really beautiful. We went to Livingstone. It's a beautiful city. It's a city of enjoy, because you can see lots of things, and then people can take you whenever you want. Actually, the location, the lodge are really beautiful. And I already sent last year, nevertheless, the COVID, after COVID, I sent with American group more than 55 person clients, and they were so happy. We were also that our Italian president went to Lusaka for business, and then he went to Victoria Falls, in Livingston. He was really surprised. Well, he said, I don't have any time for tourism, but at the beginning, he was very busy. And then I tried to say, President, you must see this fantastic place. He was really, really happy. And he wish all the Zambia, all the people that Zambia we became one of the best place in Africa to visit. Nevertheless, to Nigeria, South Africa, Botswana, but they are really good place. So I'm starting working very hard, and I happy what I done last year. Nevertheless, the COVID, but I done very well. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I hope to do the same in the other part of South Africa, and Botswana, Zambia, Lagos. I never been to Nigeria because I had no chance to go, but I hope to see the other place and to promote as a tourist destination in Europe and the United States. Thank you for your time, and hope to see your country soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michaela. Very much appreciated. Putting our beautiful country of Zambia, which is its economy is coming up nicely, picking up lovely. Yes. Appreciate it because it's all good for our region of Southern Africa and of course the rest of Sub-Saharan Africa. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, if you recall, I mentioned at the beginning that in this struggle, in this work of women facing forward, it is not women alone facing forward, driving tourism forward. We have our male folks with us. We are on this road together. It takes women and men to make the world a better place. And with that, it gives me great pleasure to introduce two men who are very critical in the work of the International Institute for Tourism to be able to speak to us. Let me start with our Vice President, Mr. Timothy Marshall, to address us, address the audience, and hopefully inspire my next other women speakers to speak to us. Timothy, please have let's see your face. Let's hear you. The stage is yours.
Thank you so much, my beautiful sister, and congratulations on the exceptional job you're doing in moderating this panel. You're looking beautiful, you're sounding wonderful, and we're so grateful for your leadership in the Southern Africa region of IIPT. I also want to thank Mr. Reza Soltani for hosting this. I want to acknowledge the chairman of our International Advisory Board, Dr. Taleb Rifai, and our honorable president of our India chapter. We're so very, very grateful for all of you and for all of your participation. From the very, very beginning, IIPT has acknowledged the role of leadership of women in the travel and tourism sector. And we are so grateful for all of the work that has been done to not only talk about this, but to showcase it and to acknowledge that women are the heads of some of our most powerful chapters around the world and providing enormous leadership. And we, on tomorrow, Mr. Ajay Prakash, who, as I mentioned, is president of our India chapter, will be hosting Celebrating Her, which is a wonderful, wonderful event that will be taking place at ITB Berlin and acknowledging the role, the pivotal role that women play in the tourism and travel sector throughout the world. So we are so grateful to have all of you brilliant and beautiful women and others who are participating in this. And thank you so much, Madam President, for the beautiful job that you're doing this morning. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. We are so blessed that you could find the time to be able to join us. I'm sure the women loved that message. It's inspiring us. We are feeling so energetic. We know we're standing on the shoulders of giants. So thank you so much, Timothy, for those inspiring words. Let me then immediately call on Mr. Ajay Prakash. He is the president of the India chapter of this beautiful organization called the International Institute for Peace through Tourism. Mr. Prakash, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Machachi. Good afternoon, good evening, because people are joining from all over the world. Wonderful to see Dr. Rifai, wonderful to see Brother Timothy, and all the colleagues from across the world. And of course, a big thank you to Reza, who's doing a phenomenal job with these webinars. It's very exciting, to hear people, especially women in leadership roles in tourism from across the world. And Machachi, I think you're doing a great job of keeping the IIPT flag flying high in Africa, and we expect much more from you and the Southern Africa chapter. It's going to be a very vibrant and a very, very alive chapter, we hope. So tomorrow is International Women's Day, and in advance, of course, one would like to extend best wishes and congratulations, though it's not only on one day that we need to honor our women. Our women need to be honored every day. And, in India, the feminine principle has always had a very special place. We have a lot of gods, you perhaps know. We also have an equal number of goddesses. And sometimes those goddesses are much more powerful than the gods and give the gods a run for their money. So that's the kind of women we're looking for in tourism to take this forward. It is, as Dr. Rifai said, at one of our celebrating her awards, which incidentally will be done for the 6th time tomorrow at the ITB Berlin. Dr. Rifai said, why we need to promote women. And he said, not necessarily because they're better, but because they are equal. And that is the crux of the matter. You need to take along half the world's population. You cannot exclude them if you want any initiative to succeed. And when we talk about tourism, when we talk about peace and the power of tourism as a force for good, the women have a huge role, a much bigger role than men, I would say, to play in this. So wonderful to be here, wonderful to see everybody. And thank you for being part of this journey, which together, the world is not a happy place today, but we need to make that extra effort to make it and to leave it a better place than we found it. Thank you very much. All the very best.
Thank you so much. Once again, you never disappoint, Ajay. Beautiful speech there, and I know you mean it from your heart. We in the Southern African chapter of the IIPT, we standing on your shoulders, Riza's shoulder. Let's not forget our founding father, Dr. Louis Dumont, in this work that we do here. So we really appreciate your inspiring message here today. So moving on very quickly, let's then introduce our next women speaker, which is a very good friend. We do so much work together. Last year we spent a time going in and out of Mozambique. It's none other than Miss Nikki Vederman. Nikki is the co-founder of Destination Mozambique. And she's going to talk to us, Nikki, about the challenges that women face in the tourism sector. And she really, I look forward to what she's going to say in this session. Nikki, let me give you over the opportunity.
Thanks, Matati, and lovely to have the opportunity to be on this panel, and really want to acknowledge all the dignitaries and fellow tourism colleagues that are here. It really is a privilege and an honor to be amongst so many beautiful, esteemed women and to be chatting to you all and with you today. I also just want to take the opportunity to, as Botswana has done, to talk Mozambique. And as Matati said, she joined us last year in Mozambique and really assisted us in raising the bar in tourism. So really take this opportunity to thank you, Matati, for all that you're doing for us in Mozambique regarding regarding the development of tourism. We're still in the early stages, and there is so much work that still needs to be done. But Mozambique as a destination is just absolutely, it beats all Southern African properties in terms of its untouched beaches, its beautiful people. One of the most important things in Mozambique, and we really highlight, is the beautiful people in the country of Mozambique. It really sits number one in terms of our USPs. Of course, we have the Portuguese influence, and the Portuguese cuisine is also just the best, isn't it? Matati. But yeah, absolute privilege to be here today. So discussing the challenges facing us in Mozambique, it is always a bit of a negative, having to talk about the challenges, but having to say that, I think the challenges can always also lead to what needs to be done and the highlights of Mozambique. So women in the workplace in Mozambique, as you said earlier, Matsatsi, really, they're up and coming at management levels. We see them moving into that space, but they're still very much in the lower end of the market. We were very excited to have our first female GM be appointed to a very well-known brand in Mozambique recently, specifically in Maputo. So amongst all the gentlemen GMs, we're very pleased to say that we have a lady now on the panel of GMs that we have there. If I could just point out post-COVID, well, the challenges of what COVID brought to tourism, I think worldwide, specifically in Mozambique, where jobs were lost and they are still to be recovered. We also lost a lot of people, especially women, outside of the sector. And I don't think that just pertains to Mozambique specifically. I think it is across Southern Africa and across the world that a lot of jobs were lost outside of the sector, which possibly we won't regain back into the sector again, which is quite sad. So would love to see a lot more of that, us bringing back women into the sector. I think you can all agree with me that once we're in tourism, we stay in tourism. It's in our blood. During COVID, we started #Mozambique in my blood, which was a lovely platform as women to discuss various issues that needed to take place. So yeah, besides COVID, if I could just say our challenges in Mozambique, there are challenges. We have some serious challenges to deal with. One of them being the uprising in northern Mozambique. Our coastline is 2,500 kilometers long. So if I could just draw that to everybody's attention, the uprising does take place further north in Mozambique. Most of our lodges and properties and tourism sectors are further down the coastline. And we have a lot of families, including women and men, and families that have been displaced, hundreds and thousands of them. And there is good work being done in helping these families in relocating them. So that's one of our challenges, specifically to tourism, because it doesn't only affect the individuals that are displaced, but it also affects tourism, and tourism in a negative way, that the world sees Mozambique in a negative light. And it's what we're trying to do is debunk those, it's not a myth so much as the stories that get put out to the media. As we know, the media aren't always in our favor, and sadly for Mozambique, they aren't in our favor, and we are seen in a sad light. But we are calling on the rest of the world to help us in that space, and hopefully it'll help. In time, we'll be able to work through that. But hotels were closed up north from COVID and the uprising. And then, of course, we get the cyclones that come into Mozambique. More recently, we had Freddie last week that entered, obviously, we came into the Indian Ocean Islands as well and hit Mauritius, I believe, and Madagascar, which was affected. And every time they come in, it does affect tourism. Again, the coastline being so long in Mozambique is such a small part of Mozambique that is affected. So again, media takes takes this message and often construes it and doesn't put it into the context of what it is. So those are the challenges we're dealing with. Where we have individuals playing an amazing part in Mozambique is that we have various NGOs, NPOs working with women, which is fantastic. We have a great project that is a worldwide project called Girl Move Academy, which is a grassroots leadership academy that creates innovative education models to amplify talent, increase gender equality, and promote sustainable transformation through mentorship programs. So I'd like to just highlight that because although it's not specific to Mozambique, it's that women are being addressed in these sectors of women leadership programs, which I think is important at grassroots level. The other thing I'd like to highlight is the work that's being done in the.
Can I just interrupt you a bit? Let me ask, Dr. Rifai has got a time constraint. Let me just find out. Dr. Rifai, how long do you still have to go, Nikki? I don't want to take over to rob you of your time. How long?
I have 5 minutes more. 5 minutes.
Nikki, how long do you still need?
2 minutes.
Okay.
Is that okay, Dr. Rifai?
Yes, okay, of course.
I'll wrap it up quickly.
No problem.
I'll wrap it up quickly because I'm sure we'd all like to move on to Mr. Rifai and hear what you have to say. If I could just say that, just wrapping it up quickly, to say that we have great work that's being done in our parks as well. We're working very closely with Peace Parks and ANAC, and the work in terms of uplifting women in the parks is really commendable, and watch the space. Soon we will have bush and beach opportunities in terms of itinerary builds within Mozambique. So thank you for the opportunity and the privilege of being here. Thanks, Matati.
Thank you, Nikki. Thank you.
Don't run away because we just need Dr. Rifai to make a reflection, and then we'll close this up nicely. I'll just give you some other time just to wrap up some final items. Dr. Rifai, we will not let you off. You have to speak to us. You have to address.
Thank you. This is wonderful. It's wonderful, Africa, once again. Africa is the place where we all came out from. You know, you should look at the BBC series called The Journey of Man. It speaks about East Africa being the hub place for all mankind. We all came out of Africa. We changed our color skin, we changed our eye colors, but we are Africans deep inside. And that's how I feel. I feel very African, really. And Africa is a wonderful place. Now, I've been to many of the places that you have been mentioning, especially Botswana, Nigeria, and Mozambique, of course, and Zambia and Zimbabwe. That's where we had our General Assembly. It was at the Victoria Falls General Assembly. It was wonderful to see all of these places. I've been there more than once, and I've been to Botswana more than once, Nigeria also more than once, and Mozambique as well. I have pictures in my behind here with all the presidents of these countries, and they're wonderful people, really. They reflect the people of Africa. Now, we're talking about women now. Women in Africa in particular have a very special place in my heart, because women altogether have a very special place in my heart. Women are very essential for tourism. Now, it's about the service providers and the consumers as well. Service providers, for example, in the tourism industry, women represent about 70% of the workforce. That's more than 2/3 of the workforce, but they only represent 22%, about 22% of managerial jobs. So it's something that we should fix now, not let it stay for long. And I feel ashamed as a man, as a human being, to see that we're still talking about gender equality. Gender equality is the goal number 5 in the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. And we are talking about it now and here. Now we should have finished this 50 years ago, not now. And I feel very, very, very embedded to that. Now, women are not only 100% equal to men. They are even smarter sometimes and better managers than men are. You have the examples there. You have examples from Europe, for example. You have Finland, the Prime Minister of New Zealand. They are women that made a better job than any man can make nowadays. It's the same thing with Angela Merkel. It was the Chancellor of Germany. And Queen Elizabeth, who was the Queen of England. They all did a great job. Now, why are women smarter than men? Women are smarter than men because I know that very well. Yesterday, I was at a graduation party here in Amman, Jordan, where I'm speaking to you from. It's my home country, it's Jordan. And I went to graduation of a Middle Eastern university here. I couldn't but notice that most of the people that went out to pick up the distinction prizes were women. And I made that clear in my speech to them all. Women are very important in our lives. Women are half of our society. Now, not only half, they're more than half because they're smarter, definitely, and much more capable managing things. Now, how do we go about this? We go about it, we have to fix it. It's the fault of men, without doubt, because men were running this world for the last 10,000 years, and they have not much good record to show us, really. So it's about time now for us to fix this. When we fix it correctly. Because African women in particular, I spoke this morning with the women from the Pacific and the Asian countries. And now I'm speaking about African women. Africa is very important to us. Africa as a continent is the only continent that still maintains the beauty of the past, the beauty of everything that we cherish in the world of today. So we must keep it alive. And tourism is very important for peace, as you said before. For example, you can't really have any negative feeling or many stereotypes about people you had dinner with last night or a family that you have visited. So more people travel, the better this will become. We need to make this world a better place, for sure. And women are very essential in this. Now, my last point is here about women in the consumers part. Consumers, women are the ones that take decisions about where and how and when to travel. They are the ones at home that decide on that. We know that all. We all know that. At home, they have a very important role to play. And they are playing it correctly. But none of our advertising is geared towards women. Our advertising is geared towards everybody else except women. Now that's a big mistake. It's a big fault. I want to draw your attention to that because women are the ones that take real decisions at home. And they are the ones that decide where to travel and how to travel. So that's important. This is the last point I wanted to make. I thank you all very much. And I am privileged of the opportunity to be speaking to you all. Nikki, you're a wonderful lady. Michaela, of course, Michaela is a very important lady. And you, Ms. Machacho, you look beautiful today. And Clara also. You all are beautiful women. I want to salute you all and raise my hand for you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We salute you as well, Dr. Rifai. You always make the time. You know, when you stepped off from the UNWTO, many people thought you were going to disappear, you're going to quietly, but you are as active as ever. And you're always with us in various spaces. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for those words. I know that it means a lot that I hear, and all the other 400 odd people who are listening to us through the various platforms. We all appreciate you. Thank you so much. I know you have to run off to another meeting.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, you have to forgive me, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Nikki, I'm coming back to you. So if there were final moments you wanted to make as we wrap up this session, I want to ask my connector, Riza, if you want to allow us to ask some questions. Do we have a moment for that? So our audience who are here, they can ask some questions. Riza, before Nikki, Riza?
Well, the things is there are not many people here in the Zoom, and those are watching on a website and other platform, they are unfortunately not able to ask questions. But who is here and have a question, of course, they can ask questions. Sure.
Great, Riza, for that. So we have until, just give me the last time so that I know when to close off. How much more do we have in terms of time?
I think we can slowly start closing off. Up to you. You are the boss. So
thank you, Riza. I appreciate it. Nikki, please let me give a robbed off of your 10 minutes. Please, if there's any final thoughts, because I know when we were preparing for the session, I also asked for solutions that we can, because it's one thing to talk about the problems, ladies, but we also have to offer some solutions. So I'm going to give you, Nikki, 1 minute to 2 minutes, because you are robbed of your time. One, to wrap up your session, but also if you got some solutions that you want to offer. Morunga, please think 1 minute of solutions. Clara, 1 minute of solutions. Those are the only speakers that I see here. So as we close up, and Michaela as well, so that we can close up and we don't take too much of Riza's time. We're starting with you, Nikki.
Thanks, Matati. Just wrapping up quickly, yeah, in terms of support, we are reaching out to certain organizations in terms of the support that we need as a destination. One of them being Tourism Cares, which is a US-based company, and would love to share that information on another panel, maybe possibly another day. It may take another 30 minutes to explain it, but reaching out to opportunities that are available to us, and likewise, possibly even from this panel, that we can work together in finding solutions to the problems that we do have. In a nutshell, Tourism Cares comes into the destination and helps to uplift SMMEs, and then work with those SMMEs in including them on itinerary programs for future US travelers back to Mozambique and other destinations. If I could just make one point, and that is that the challenges that we do have and the problems that we've had with Mozambique, although there's a negative, as I said, there's always the positive. And for me, positive, I always try and see the positive in everything, is that it highlights who we are as a destination, and sadly, marketing is an area that we sadly are neglecting at the moment, and we're trying to put Mozambique back on the map, which we know we're doing in a good way. We're at the tipping point in terms of exposing the destination for all its glory, and even the negative comes a positive, because we're being recognised as a great unknown and untouched destination.
Thank you so much, Nikki. Much appreciated. A beautiful country Mozambique it is. Starting up, but we always say, and I said this, Nikki, when we met with those GMs of the major hotels in Maputo, that it is the missing link in the Southern African offering, the Mozambique. So it's very important for Mozambique to be developed, to come up, so we complete the picture of what we have to offer as a region, and of course, complementing the whole African offering. So we thank you for the work that you're doing there. With our, your colleague, why am I forgetting her name? Cordelia. There with Destination Mozambique. So let me go over to Michaela. Michaela, you were telling us a lot about the Victoria Falls. Just tell us about, solution.
Yes.
1 minute.
The solution. I'm going to have for next June a big event in Rome. It's called African Tourist Exchange with Tour Operator America and European. So it's going to be a very big project. It's going to be in Italy, in Rome. And my project, I was thinking, and actually I'm doing with my website, I'm going to find a sponsor, because we need a sponsor, from all Africa embassies in Rome, because I have a lot of connection with Africa embassies in Rome. So it's going to be a sort of a change with the American tour operator, very famous, Trafalgar Tours, Globetrotters, and the most European tour operator and DMC. So we go to have this big event. You will be one of the guests, and everybody, all my colleagues, female, you are welcome to Rome. As soon as I have the logo, I'm going to put on the chat. We have a different chat. You are in the same chat, I think, the two of them. Yes. So it's got to be probably in June if we find the hotel, the accommodation, and otherwise it's got to be in October after the business time, because during the summertime I will be very, very busy. So what do you think? Can I have your support in this big project, like Morogoy, Clara, Nikki, all the women? I need the support for the women, because I think myself that we are more aggressive, more we take more initiative as we have to do this, what we have to do to combine our group. I would like to work with you as a group. You know what I mean?
We shall do. We formed a group on WhatsApp, Michaela. So we will take it offline and we take it forward, because I agree with you. When you meet these powerful women like Clara and Morongwa and Nikki, you don't want to let them go. So we shall.
Yes. So we can have a chat, and you can be the chief of the chat. We can be together, work together in this project. I will start to write a letter for the sponsor. Are you agree, Morogon? Hello?
That's good. Let's take it offline, Michaela, so that we can take it off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I know her because she was supporting me when I went to Botswana. Thank you very much. You was really
You're welcome.
A big help for me. And Nikki as well. Yes.
Michaela, your 1 minute is off. We are running out of time.
Okay,
I need to get it.
Okay. Thank you.
We'll take it. We'll take it offline.
Okay. Thank you very much.
2 1 minute solutions, Clara.
So I'm just going to start by saying, without technology, we will all not be gathered here by now. So I think that's something we need to deeply think about. If we introduce technology to help accelerate the growth of travel and tourism in Africa, the continent is going to become a lot more competitive. And over 60% of women in the tourism industry, if they're equipped with the right tools to market their products, to market their tourism services, it's going to become hugely a big shift in terms of drawing capital into the continent. And so what we're going to do is go on a massive enlightenment drive to be able to empower these women, to bring them in through workshops and to appeal to the big technology companies to assist us to be able to train these women to become more competitive with their businesses.
Thank you so much, Clara. We're gonna hold you to that. We're gonna make follow-ups to the IIPT. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen who are on the platform, if you have burning questions as we round off this webinar, because I'm going to Botswana for a minute slot on solutions and what we can look forward and what the IIPT can do going forward together with all the women and other institutions. Over to you, Osmurunga.
Hi, thank you, Machachi. I'll just give one solution which would probably assist women or assist us. You know, in Southern Africa or in Botswana and South Africa, we have a system called Motselo, right? This informal banking system that brings women together to uplift each other. I believe that if we can do that Motselo to get women to get into the higher echelons or to own large businesses, large hotels, if we can do that for each other and stop relying maybe on government and stop complaining about access to funding and all of that, if we can do that for each other, one at a time, we will win this war. Thank you.
Thank you so much, so much, ladies. Anybody who's got a burning question in the audience before I close off, I don't want Riza to come and chase me out of here with my wonderful women panel. Anybody with a question? Riza, I see no hands.
Okay.
Let me take this time really to thank my beautiful panel, my beautiful women and the men, Timothy Marshall, Dr. Rifai, who's left us, Ajay Prakash, and all my other speakers that came in and went, and Nancy, the ambassador Nancy there. I enjoyed this session very much. And as I close off on this session here, Riza, I think the work is cut out for the UN women who are here. I'm recognizing that the UN women joined us. I'm also the IIPT, the International Institute for Peace Through Tourism, the UNWTO, the WTTC, which is the World Travel and Tourism Council, all the role players, the major role players, the AU, governments, some of the colleagues that are from African governments that are here. I think the challenge is right here for us. Let's take the opportunity of the great reset of the COVID-19 to be able to see what is it that we can do to assist women to drive various sectors with tourism at the center. Tourism is my forte, is what I love, simply because it's got the biggest value chain. As I mentioned earlier in the opening, there is nothing, no sector that tourism doesn't touch in any country whatsoever. So we need to embrace it, and to be able to embrace it, we need to bring women in it. We are not excluding anybody out of it. We're not saying men are out of it. We are going to travel this road together. We can really achieve so much through tourism. We need to close the wage gaps in these sectors in tourism. Ambassador Nancy was talking about most of the hotels in Ghana are owned by women. Women here, we need to join hands with the women in Ghana. Let's learn some lessons. How do these things get achieved? And the men supporting us. Riza, what I want to say to you as a challenge as we go forward, challenging us as the IIPT, is that our next webinar, we need to organize a webinar with funders, the likes of the African Development Bank, the likes here in South Africa of the IDC. We need to bring them on board because one of the major things that women want is financial assistance. It's not always money, but it's also a measure to be able to support women. We need to bring the UN women in this space where women need to be given support measures. They are mothers, they are spouses, they are wives. They have to keep their fires burning at home at the same time, pursue their dreams of a career and raising an income, adding income at home. And we want to do them, we need to be assisted to be able to do it beautifully, not to kill us, but beautiful so that we develop society together. Because what is the bedrock of society? Is the home. If the home is not proper, nothing is going to flourish. And so with those few ways, I would like to thank you. I want to thank my family, my IIPT Family International Office, thank the leaders, the women here, to thank all those 400 odd people who watch us through the other platforms. We thank you for listening to us. Riza, it's over to you to close off.
And thank you so much for your wonderful moderation. Thank you all the lovely ladies. It was really great. And the dear colleagues, Mr. Timothy Marshall and Mr. Ajay, thank you so much. And Dr. Tara Bafai, thank you so much. So the recording will be from tomorrow available. Thank you so much. And happy Women's Day, by the way.
Happy International Women's Day to everybody, all the beautiful women. We shall be in touch. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.